Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to Turn a Stone Tarot. I am so excited to do this unboxing video with you. I have been waiting for this deck for 7 months. The print date got pushed out a couple of times, so it's been a long wait, but I'm very excited to finally have this deck of 100 cards. It's called an Almanac of Birds, 100 Divinations for Uncertain Days by Maria Popova. Maria Popova is, she's an artist, she's a poet. She puts out this wonderful newsletter called The Marginalian, which comes by email a couple of times a week, and profiles various artists, scientists, poets, some of the, the greatest minds of the last couple of centuries. And she really distills all of this wonderful wisdom from these kind of literary, artistic, and scientific greats into a beautiful summary that comes every week. I really enjoy it so much. So if you're like me, if you're a poetry lover, if you're a bird lover, if you are a lover of science, a lover of the arts in any way, I think you're really going to love this deck. It's not a tarot deck per se, it's a divination deck, so kind of meant to deliver the messages that are helpful for you at the time that you do the draw. So a slightly different kind of deck, but nonetheless, I am excited to share it with you here today. I'll put a link in the description so you can get more information about it, or perhaps order it if you're interested. At the time I'm recording the video, it is out of stock, but I'm sure that will be rectified soon enough. So let's get to it. I am going to unbox this before your very eyes here. So excited. I want to make sure I don't damage it here. So looking for the best way in. I think we'll start here with these. There we go. Getting the plastic off, releasing the deck into the world. Ah, beautiful. Okay, so a few interesting things about this, just the box itself. So the book design, or rather the box design, is called a book safe. So this, if you look, it looks like the spine of a book here. So this is an old Victorian design meant to be a place where you would house love letters or valuables, and then you would sort of cleverly put it on your bookshelf and no one would be any the wiser. They would think it was an ordinary book when really something very valuable or treasured lie inside. So it's created to look like a book, an old Victorian book safe, but indeed it holds our magical cards here. So before we get into it, let's read you the back of the box here. So we've got reviews from Nick Cave, Robert McFarlane, and Diane Ackerman. Nick Cave says, Maria's divinations are her radically beautiful, wise, and breathless prayers. Robert McFarlane says, what mysterious magic Maria Popova has conjured with these divinations, image and text co-summoning each other into strangeness and wonder. The ancient used birds to foretell the future, the haruspex, the scryer, the seer. But Maria's bird cards seem instead to peer into spirit and fathom the heart in sharp, surprising ways. Here is a box of beauty to catch the breath, a wonder commer to be opened, studied, and shared. Diane Ackerman says, a field guide to the heart where avian and human nature entwine in a plumage of wise, iridescently beautiful meditations, and nature's lexicon is remixed into sublime flights of wonder. Wow, so very high praise indeed for this beautiful box of cards. Let's begin here. All right, so as we open the box, oh, it comes open like so. And we have a little booklet here. And I was reading about the deck earlier, and it says the little booklet has an essay by Maria that discusses kind of the origin of the deck and her story behind the creation of the deck. So beautiful little booklet here. I will read this at the end. I will put a timestamp. So if you are interested in hearing me read this letter in full, please look for that timestamp in this video. I will read it to you at the end. But first, let's do our flip through of the cards. This beautiful gold ribbon here. I love the blues and the golds in this deck. And it seems, and with 100 cards, you know, there's a lot to work with here. I'm going to flip it over to get the cards out and set the box aside here. So this also has plastic. Let me get into that as well. Oh, I don't love opening shrink wrapped items. Does anybody share that with me? I just never want to damage the items, and shrink wrap can be a little hard to remove. So let's try to get a corner here. There we go. And yay, it's always a good feeling when you get into that shrink wrap without too much fuss. Okay, so the images on the cards here are old prints from the works of J.J. Audubon, John Gould. J.J. Audubon, of course, wrote, you know, Birds of America. I think he also wrote something called Birds of Australia. John Gould wrote Birds of Europe and perhaps other editions as well, and other artists as well, but they all have this sort of beautiful vintage quality here. Very pretty cards, you know, very detailed prints, and each card contains a beautiful poem by Maria Popova herself. So she's provided the poetry here, superimposed on the images, the antique images of the birds here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip through each of these cards so you have the opportunity to see them. If you are interested in having me read all of the cards, please comment down below and let me know. If there's enough interest in a video with me reading all of the poetry, I would certainly be happy to do that. But I think with 100 cards, it's going to be a bit much for today. So I'll choose one card at the end to read the poem of after I flip through each of the cards, so you have a chance to see each of the images. I'll try to get them close enough to the camera so you can obviously freeze frame and read anything you wish to. But I won't be reading all of the cards because I think that could take us a very long time. So if you would like me to read all of them, comment down below and I may create a separate video for that. But for right now, let's flip through each of the cards here. I'll try to get it as close as I can so the camera focuses. And let's take a look at this beautiful deck here. This is the Great Blue Heron. I did read the essay earlier, and Maria did mention that the Great Blue Heron was kind of her great spirit bird. You know, a bird that really has spoken to her throughout her life and was a big inspiration for creating this deck. So it makes sense that the Great Blue Heron and the poem of the Great Blue Heron is kind of starting off our beautiful deck here. So the Great Blue Heron. And here we have beautiful imagery here. Oh, it's just gorgeous. This is the dwarf thrush, a male dwarf thrush. And of course, our lovely flamingo. The beautiful passenger pigeon. I believe they no longer exist, but once upon a time, the birds of yore, the passenger pigeon. Oh, I just love these old antique bird prints. They're just stunning. The detail is really incredible. The yellow crown neck night heron. The calicara eagle. Forgive my pronunciation on some of these, friends. Some of the words are brand new to me. The frigate pelican, man of war bird. The ruby-throated hummingbird. The American, I can't read that second word. Snakebird. See if I can get a little closer. Salinger? American Salinger? I could be completely wrong. Forgive me. Snakebird. The common snowbird? The common bluebird? Oh, look at the colors. Gorgeous. Oh, just so pretty. I'm so excited to have this and to be able to use it. So I think what I'm going to do is to pull a bird card every week and post it on my video so that you can all enjoy some of the beautiful poetry here. It's just really stunning, and some of it, just very deep and powerful poetry. So I do look forward to sharing that with you on my channel. This is the Brown Pelican. So do tune in for those weekly bird divination readings. I think they will be helpful to us all. We certainly are living in uncertain times, and I think this is a wonderful tool for really helping us kind of ponder the deeper mystery at this time. This is the Tupit Tit. I'm probably saying that wrong. Toupee tit. Again, please forgive the pronunciation here, but the images and the poetry speak for themselves. The barred owl. And I have had the great pleasure of having many barred owl sightings in my life. I've seen this bird many times. It feels strange calling an owl a bird. They seem almost something else entirely. Here we have the azure winged magpie. The azure winged magpie. Look at how pretty that is. Wow. Oh, blown away already. I can't wait to read each and every one of these poems. But for now, let us enjoy the imagery and the birds themselves. This is the Lewis woodpecker. The Lewis woodpecker. Oh, and another little word challenge for me here. The Epimachus Elioti? Epimachus Elioti? If you know anything about these birds, please feel free to comment down below. If you know how to pronounce these words, also, please feel free to offer your pronunciation corrections in the comments below. I'd be happy to have them because some of these are a little challenging. Here we have the black ouzel, or the blackbird. The blackbird. The black-headed song grosbeak. Oh, the grosbeak. The colors on the grosbeak, so stunning. They're just amazing birds, grosbeaks. This here is the black-throated bunting. The black-throated bunting. Here we have, I'll have to get quite close to see it here, get it in frame. This is the black-throated blue wood warbler. Wow, this has a lot of words. The black-throated blue wood warbler. I just recently got into birds. I would say probably in the last couple of years. I even went on a birding trip over winter to see some rare birds in the north where I live here. This is the snowy heron. Oh, isn't that stunning? Snowy heron. And I thought, oh, it's truly a sign of middle age when you start to be interested in birds. I'm sure there are many young people interested in birds. I mean, I mean only the best when I say that, but it's something I kind of associate when when you get a little older and mellower, you really start to appreciate those little details like the birds in your life. I'm being very general, of course, and I know there are many very young people who enjoy birds. So take that with a grain of salt. This is the blue tit. The blue tit. This is the blue jay. The blue jay. This is the, oh, I really can't read that. My eyes struggling to get that small print. The Calendara nucleus. Calendara nucleus. If anybody knows this bird, please comment down below. Oh, and of course I recognize this one. The common cardinal grosbeak. Common cardinal grosbeak. Oh, that's really interesting. I've never thought of a cardinal as being a grosbeak, but this would suggest that they are of the grosbeak family. And here we have the Steller's jay. Ah, the clever Steller's jay. The wood thrush. Beautiful wood thrush there. The American swift. American swift. Oh, lovely owl coming up here. The great Canorous owl. Again, apologies if I'm misreading or mispronouncing. The great Canorous owl. Wonder if that's the same as a great gray? Looks very similar to me. Beautiful owl, wow. Stunning illustrations here. The common crane. Common crane. The crested titmouse. The crested titmouse. The white-winged crossbill. The common American crow. Common American crow. Ah, I know who this is. This is an eagle owl. Eagle owl. A jay? Just a jay. It's so strange after some of those multi-syllabic birds, we get something called a jay, just a jay. Oh, it starts with a G. Girpesa magnumesta? Oh, heavens. I really will need some help in the comments with this one. Girpesa magnumesta? The golden-winged woodpecker? The American goldfinch? The Canada goose? Canada goose. The red-tailed grackle? And here we have the beautiful great white heron. The great white heron. The hemlock warbler. And it says the dwarf maple terspicatum. The hermit thrush. The hoopoe. There are both extinct birds as well as, birds that we still very much have with us in this deck. So some of these will be maybe unfamiliar to you simply because, they're birds that are no longer with us. This is the wood ibis. The kestrel. The Alcedo ispida. Ispida? Ispida. You get the idea. The swallow-tailed kite. Ah, the lovely linnet. The linnet. Linaria cannabina. Swainson. For those Latin lovers out there. The little auk. The magpie. Our friend the magpie. One of the corvid family, the magpies. Maria's woodpecker. The merlin. Looks like a Latin name here. Mama parnulis. Again, corrections welcome down below in the comments. Morning ground warbler. The morning ground warbler. Oh, sweet, sweet little bird. The nightingale. The Savannah bumbling. This bird that looks like an ostrich is called Aurea dominu. Perhaps a Latin name, Aurea dominu. Very ostrich-like, emu-like. The painted bunting. Oh, gorgeous the colors here. Look. Oh, wow. Just the detail on these vintage illustrations, it just blows my mind every time. This is the Fundulan tit. The peregrine falcon. Megastar peregrine falcon. Oh. The Pica eurythmic. Oh heavens! I may have taken on a great challenge here reading all of these. The Pica erythrohynca. Oh no, I'll need some help. If any of you know, please help me out here. Beautiful bird. It's almost sort of peacock-like. The common pine finch. Common pine finch. The pine linnet. Got a theme going on here. Pine theme. The puffin. The purple martin. The raven. The raven. The mealy redpoll linnet. The mealy redpoll linnet. I think you could just call it a redpoll. I've seen redpolls before. which is probably a mealy redpoll linnet. The red and white-shouldered marsh blackbird. The red and white-shouldered marsh blackbird. Probably a relative of the red-winged blackbird. The wandering rice bird. Wandering rice bird. The rock wren. Gorgeous illustration. Wow. So pretty. The rose-breasted song grosbeak. The rose-breasted song grosbeak. The great American shrike. The snowy owl. Oh, our great friends, the snowy owl. Watched a documentary recently about snowy owls at Logan Airport, of all places. They do seem to like harbors and open spaces of a kind, so you find them in unusual locations like an airport. The snowy owl. The spoonbill, with their delightful beaks. The spoonbill. The white stork. The summer redbird. Summer redbird. Oh, gorgeous. That red color just pops off the print. Okay, another challenge here. Something swamp warbler. Prothonotary? Prothonotary swamp warbler. Scarlet tanager. The tawny or wood owl. The tawny or wood owl. Oh, beautiful. Brown tree creeper. The brown tree creeper. The yellow-throated grenulate. It says something or grenulate. I can't quite read the word after it. It's this old, Victorian script. It's very difficult to read. The wood-throated finch? No. Oh, again, please forgive me. I'm not able to make out that word, but it says yellow-throated something or grenulate. The wall creeper? What a wonderful name, the wall creeper. Very evocative. The white-throated dove pigeon. The white-throated dove pigeon. The white-crowned finch. The white-rumped woodpecker. The white-rumped woodpecker. The whooping crane. The wood pigeon. Cute. Cute, 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 the wood pigeon. The chestnut-sided wood warbler. The worm-eating swamp warbler. The Leconteus sharp-tailed bunting. Pretty, pretty yellows on that. The golden oriole. Ah, the oriole. Always a day brightener, the oriole. The Venus grosbeak. Probably so named because of its wine-like color, the Venus grosbeak. The common tern. Also good, T-E-R-N. Good Scrabble word if you're ever playing Scrabble. Tern is a good use of words, or letters rather. This is the American swan. The American swan. You can see her like that. There she is. All right, beautiful. The dark-crested cormorant. The ivory-billed woodpecker. The field bunting. Oh, it's our final card, friends. This is the Great American White Egret. The Great American White Egret. Something I have the pleasure of seeing quite often. A white egret. There it is on its sides. You can see the bird a little bit better. The Great American White Egret. All right, and then I am going to choose for us one of the cards to read so that, you know, we have the chance to enjoy some of this beautiful poetry here. Oh, look at the back of the cards here with the eggs on the back. That's so pretty with the eggs. What a great idea. Oh, it's just a beautiful deck. Nice thick cards too. They'll hold up very well over time, I think. And because there are so many cards, I think shuffling them is going to be darn near impossible. So I'm going to splay them out here and see. Oh, we have a break in the cards. So our bird of the day, our inaugural bird here is the brown tree creeper, the brown tree creeper. And the poem says, the constant intention to please leaves you in a cage of scarcity. But if you meet each person as the peculiar and rare brood of particles you are, you may come to rest in the abundance of being witnessed. I'll read it again. The constant intention to please leaves you in a cage of scarcity. But if you meet each person as the peculiar and rare brood of particles you are, you may come to rest in the abundance of being witnessed. Oh, the poetry is just stunning and layered, and she uses words so beautifully. Really enjoy the cards here. So that is our card for the day. And now I will take a moment to clean up the cards, and then I'm going to read us from the essay that Maria has included in the pack that describes how she came about, how the deck came about rather, how she created it, the inspiration for it. So let me read that to you. First, we'll clean up our cards here. All right, so it says, for Lily, in gratitude for the wings between the words and the words beneath the wings. I have found that the surest way of seeing the wondrous in something ordinary, something previously underappreciated, is coming to love someone who loves it. As we enter each other's worlds in love, whatever its shape or species, we double our way of seeing, broaden our way of being, magnify our sense of wonder, and wonder is our best means of loving the world more deeply. When the wonder of birds entered my world, I came awake to the notation of starlings on the street wires, to the house wrens bathing in the dusting parking lot, to the robins serenading dawn in its clear and lovely voice, each trill as perfect as a Bach measure. One rainy afternoon, I watched two night herons sleep and wondered whether they were dreaming. Went down a rabbit hole of research, wrote a New York Times piece about how the evolution of REM in the avian brain shaped our human dreams. Birds began populating my own dreams. A great blue heron glided across the sky of my mind, slow and prehistoric, carrying the world on her back. A million sandhill cranes unspooled from the horizon, turned into the Milky Way, turned into music, turned into time itself. A magpie spoke to me in my mother's voice. Around the same time, I was discovering that multiple people I love and respect were fond of tarot, something I had always regarded as an embarrassing echo of medieval superstition, anti scientific and intellectually unsound, devised in a world where Satan was more real to the average person than gravity. But as I replaced contempt with curiosity, I came to see it simply as a coping mechanism for the difficulty of living with all this uncertainty, the difficulty of being so opaque to ourselves, a language for interpreting our intentions and experiences, the way the primary purpose of prayer is to clarify our hopes and fears. I realize, too, that I am not impervious to such practices myself. Each year on my birthday, I perform a Whitman divination. I conjure up the most restless question on my mind, open leaves of grass with my eyes closed, and let my blind finger fall on a verse. Without fail, Whitman opens some profound side door to my question that becomes its own answer, one inaccessible to the analytical mind. In that strange combinatorial way the creative impulse has of collaging existing inspirations and passions into something entirely new, I awoke one day with the strange determination to create my own card deck of divinations from the birds. 40 decks of 40 cards each to give away to 40 people I love on my 40th birthday. I turned to my favorite 19th century ornithological books, digitized by the wonderful Biodiversity Heritage Library, the many volumes of John James Audubon's Birds of America, illustrated by Audubon himself, and John Gould's Birds of Europe and Birds of Australia, illustrated by his gifted wife Elizabeth and by Edward Lear, who helped cultivate Elizabeth's talent, a couple of volumes of Henry Leonard Mayer's colored illustrations of British birds and their eggs, and the ornithological portions of Darwin's Voyage of the Beagle, the specimens from which Elizabeth Gould illustrated. Each night before going to sleep, I would let a painted bird call out to me from the yellowed pages, then read the ornithological description of the species, taking down a handful of words and phrases speaking to something on my mind that day. Then, with the slanted reckoning of REM, the unconscious would do its mysterious work in the night. Upon waking, I would reread the ornithological text, and a kind of message would come to enflesh the skeleton of the noted words, a divination from the bird, partway between koan and poem. I would spend the rest of the day cutting the words and rearranging them onto the illustration, digitally correcting only lightly for the corruptions of the centuries, but mostly embracing the blurry and uneven scans, the stains and smudges, the faded colors, embracing the price of time. The words of long dead writers rose from the yellowed pages to transform into the voice of my own unconscious, speaking its secret knowledge about love and friendship, about uncertainty and possibility, about fear and resistance and the capacity for change. The divinations were telling me what I needed to hear. A part of us always knows what we need to hear and can always tell us where we need to go. The great challenge of life is not to silence that voice with fear or with hope, with indifference or compulsion or the tyranny of should. I started with the great blue heron, the closest thing I have to a spirit animal. Birds I already knew and loved called out to me first, the bowerbird, the nightingale, the osprey. Then I began discovering strange and wondrous creatures I had never seen, the fierce frigate, the tender linnet, the Dr. Seussian snakebird. I sorrowed for birds I would never see, like the extinct passenger pigeon and the ivory-billed woodpecker cusping on extinction. I delighted in birds I had not seen since I left Bulgaria in my late teens, the same age Audubon was when he left the France of his childhood for America. Birds like the white stork and the magpie. Each bird surprised me with the divination it brought. It didn't feel like I was writing these, they were writing me. A kind of almanac was emerging, guidance for uncertain days. I made a divination a day in a state of what Octavia Butler called a sweet and powerful positive obsession. When I had 40, I sent them off to the printer to make the 40 decks. But I couldn't stop. The practice had become a metronome of my days. The birds kept coming, kept speaking. Then, at the 11th hour of my 30s, life dealt a great difficulty. The daily divinations became an unexpected consolation, helped compost the suffering into fertile ground for growth, held up mirrors I needed to look at. Anything you polish with attention will become a mirror. By the time of my midsummer birthday, I had made twice as many divinations as were in the deck. Although the project had sprung from such a deeply private place, I decided to share it with my readers on The Marginalian, trusting that the birds might help others as much as they had helped me. I was overwhelmed by the outpouring of delight from bird lovers, from tarot lovers, from poetry lovers, from other people like me simply looking for another language in which to communicate with themselves, the language of the unconscious. They asked where they could get a deck of their own, but all the 40 decks I made were gone to friends as intended. I made prints and stationery cards publicly available, which you can find at this address, which readers relished, but they still yearned for either a book or a deck, and so I made both. This book of cards, modeled on the 19th century faux tomes known as book safes, used to conceal banned books or love letters, is the product of the passionate insistence. It feels only right that I donate half the proceeds from it, as I did with the prints, to the Audubon Society in gratitude for their noble conservation work and for John James' beautiful birds, but even more so for his beautiful words. John James Audubon was the 18-year-old illegitimate son of a French plantation owner when he arrived in America in the first years of the 19th century, with a fake passport, fleeing conscription in Napoleon's army. His mother had died when he was a boy. Like Walt Whitman and Frederick Douglass, Audubon was an expert self-mythologizer. He claimed his mother was a Creole woman who perished in a slave uprising, but recently uncovered documents indicate she was a French chambermaid. His two uncles, beloved father figures in a childhood marked by an absent father, had died in the French Revolution. As he began this new chapter of life, not yet knowing he was writing his own myth, the love of birds that had buoyed him through a lonely childhood became his primary obsession. He set out to complete a collection not only valuable to the scientific class, but pleasing to every person. The first comprehensive guide to the continent's birds, many of them never before described. He later recounted, prompted by an innate desire to acquire a thorough knowledge of the birds of this happy country, I formed the resolution, immediately on my landing, to spend, if not all my time in that study, at least all that portion generally called leisure to draw each individual of its natural size and coloring. The minimal lessons in portraiture he had received as a boy in France had taught him nothing about drawing nature, so he decided to teach himself. My pencil gave birth to a family of cripples, he witnessed at his first attempts. He winced at his first attempts. So maimed were most of them that they resembled the mangled corpses on a field of battle compared with the integrity of living men. To improve his skills, he made an annual ritual of burning entire batches of drawings, resolved to redo those birds in the coming year. After a few years of patience, he wrote, some of my attempts began almost to please me, and I have continued the same style ever since. He fell in love with an American girl born in England who made him at home in the new language, so that he could describe the birds he was drawing. He became increasingly lyrical in his writing. He changed his name. He was born Jean-Jacques Rabin to sound American. He would soon be naming American birds new to the ornithological literature. When he came upon an unusually small three-toed woodpecker never before described, Audubon named it Maria's woodpecker, after his friend Maria Martin, the botanical artist who drew most of the trees, flowers, and reeds on which the birds perch. Over the next 3 decades of his life, Audubon went on to paint and write about 435 birds, including several now extinct. He lavishes each bird with multiple pages of detailed description and anecdotes from his personal encounters, using vocabulary so beautiful that working with it felt like a cheat. I savored his unself-consciousness. I savored his unself-conscious use of words like astonishment and bewildered in the middle of ornithological description. Rude that such lovely words as betake and depredation have fallen out of fashion since his time. Delighted in seeing ossified, one of my favorite words, which I learned from Emily Dickinson's Love Letters to Sue, recurs so frequently in the context of avian anatomy. Delighted in using it in an entirely different context. Beyond its spiritual rewards, beyond its quiet consolation, this daily practice became a tremendous source of creative vitality, a mighty antidote to the burnout I had started to feel nearly 2 decades into my primary writing practice. I know no greater catalyst of creativity, in art or in life, than constraint. It is in the boundaries, chosen or imposed, that give shape to our lives. It is within them that we become truly creative about the kind of life we want to live. Without the constraint of bones, there would be no wings. And what of the very notion of divination? I don't believe in signs. I don't believe that this immense impartial universe concerns itself with the fate of any one of us motes of stardust, that it is giving us personalized clues as to how to live our transient lives. But I do believe in omens. Omens are the conversation between consciousness and reality, between the self and the unconscious, a conversation in the poetic language of belief. A bird is never a sign from reality, but it can become an omen based on what we believe to be true. For reality is the truth that endures whether or not we believe in it, while meaning arises from what we believe to be true. We make our own omens by the meaning we confer upon chance events, and it is the making of meaning that makes us human, that makes us capable of holding something as austere and total as the universe, as time, as love without breaking. That is it. Maria Popova thinks and writes about our search for meaning, sometimes through science and philosophy, sometimes through poetry and children's books, always through the lens of wonder. She is the creator of The Marginalian, born in 2006 under the name Brain Pickings, which is included in the Library of Congress Permanent Digital Archive of Culturally Valuable Materials. She has written some very long books, Figuring and Transversal, and some very short books, The Snail with the Right Heart and The Coziest Place on the Moon. And her show, The Universe in Verse, a charitable celebration of the wonder of reality through stories of science winged with poetry, has also become a book the length of a day on Saturn. And there you have it. An Almanac of Birds, 100 Divinations for Uncertain Days by Maria Popova. All right, thank you everyone. Thank you for indulging me in sharing this brand new deck with you. I hope you have enjoyed the flip through, the readings, that little sample of poetry. I wish you all a very beautiful day full of light, love, and boundless blessings. And may you see some wonderful birds in your day, in your month, in your year, and in your lifetime. And I wish you all the very best for now. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.